Welcome back. It's a new season of Huddle Up, and we return 2026. With me, as always, Rob Clark. Hey, Rob, how's it going, man?
Welcome back, Red Raiders.
Yes, Rob, just getting back from a beach vacation, so we're all jealous. Tim Ebersole is our guest today. Tim, I was going through some of your stuff today in the Hall of Fame, and holy cow, man, I had no idea. The guy, you set every record in the books back in the day. So welcome.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. I had some great receivers and Eddie Noon and Jeff Zubia, Steve Shirk. We had some great receivers, and we had Dave Freese was our tailback, Tommy Sloan. I mean, some really good athletes. So they made my role a lot easier for sure.
Cool. Well, we're going to get into it pretty deep. First, I want to talk a little bit about coming up so everybody knows, and I'm hoping everybody does know, we're going to have our spring game and reunion April 10th and 11th. This is the 4th year we've done it. I know Rob's been a regular, and it's a good time. How about it, Rob?
It really is. Yeah, please, if you get a chance, come back. It's great to see the kids. But let's be honest, it's great to see each other. We have a great time. We get after it a little bit, but it's just fun to catch up with everybody. And with football always behind the scene, it's always part of the theme, but it's about friendship. It's about reconnecting with our buddies, and it's a great weekend. So if you get a chance, please come up.
It is. It's great to see guys we haven't seen in years, and we have a good time at the hotel, and it's going to be a good time this year. Also, just a real quick reminder too, it's down the road, but May 11th is the May 16th. I'm sorry, May 16th, the Rocky Reese Memorial Golf Outing. We're looking to get a bunch of golfers this year, so if you're interested in playing some golf, even if you suck at it, we'll take it. We'll take
it. That would be
me. Every year we have a guy in our force from Dave Calvario. Doesn't do anything but putt. That's all he does. All right, man. Let's jump into it, Evie. It's great to see you. It's been a long time, and Tim was the team captain on our 1981 team, and also he was in '82. Tim, you came to Shippensburg, and I'm just curious, like, what brought you to Ship from York, and who brought you up there? How'd they get you there?
Well, it was an interesting story, Fran. I was at the time I was recruited by Tubby Raymond at Delaware, and Shippensburg, Joe Mark, and Dick Dragonac had recruited me at the time, and then eventually Jim Monis was one of the key folks that gave me the opportunity, or really led me that way. My high school coach, Louis Orndorff, Louis was my high school coach, and Louis and Jim are brothers-in-law, and so that was kind of the connection there. But I went on a visit to Delaware, and my interest at the time was to play baseball and play football. And I went into Coach Raymond's office, my father, myself, my high school coach at the time, Marty Horner, and the recruiter from Delaware that, and I can't remember his name at this point, but the person that was recruiting me, one of the position coaches. And Tubby couldn't understand. He was like, if I'm going to give you a scholarship, why would I give you a scholarship to play baseball? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I really want to try at least my freshman year, maybe sophomore year. And he said, I just don't see how I can do that. And so we went on the tour for the day. And at the end of the day, they must have had maybe 5 or 6 quarterbacks on campus that day. And I guess 2 or 3 of them took scholarships, and they were just going to play football. And I stayed firm with I wanted to at least try baseball. Mm-hmm. That was probably one of my loves growing up, was baseball. My father coached me all the way up to high school and so forth. And I at least wanted to give it a try. And when I went on the visit to Shippensburg, Coach Mark said that I would definitely have an opportunity to do that my freshman year. And the unique part of that story is that ultimately I came to Ship. And in '81, we won the, I think it was the Lambert Cup, and Delaware won it for the higher level. So we go to the convention. I guess it was the ECAC or somewhere. I can't remember, New Jersey. And Tubby was there.
Oh, that's fun.
And my father went up to him and said, you missed, he was bragging for his son and said, you missed out on this guy. He said, well, I think everybody won in this situation. We're here, and so is he.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah,
good. So
yeah,
it was a really funny story. And Coach Raymond was really a high-class quality guy.
yeah.
And I really appreciated at least getting to know him in the recruiting process and that kind of thing. But fortunately, I ended up at Shippensburg, and I had a great group of teammates, and we just had a great run in '81, and that was just a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Would you say that baseball was your first love coming into college? Did you?
Believe it or not, Fran, basketball was my passion.
Oh, really?
But I just wasn't tall enough and quick enough to play basketball in college. So football, I seemed to have a lot of opportunities, and baseball, I thought that was going to be the sport that would really take me to the highest level possibly.
Mm-hmm.
And it just went with football once I got to Ship, and I played my freshman year, and then after that I went to spring practice and didn't do baseball after that. But I really think I know that I made the right decision because we had a great team, and it was truly a team, and I just loved it, especially my junior year, your senior year, and it was just a great group of people, and like to this day, guys still stay in contact, whether it's online, whether it's text messages, emails, and it's really a true. It really was. It was like a family to me, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, and just one more thing I'm going to jump in about Tim too is I know you mentioned your dad. He was a huge fan.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I don't know that I don't think he ever missed a game or.
If he could be at every practice, Fran, he would have been at every practice. I mean, he was really committed, and I lost him too soon. He passed away when he was 63.
Yeah,
and that was really hard. I gave the eulogy at the funeral, and that was hard. He was like my best friend, really.
Yeah. I knew you guys were close. I just remember, and I don't mean to dominate this, Rob. I just remember, Tim, that after games, man, tailgating after the games with our parents, it was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced.
What a great group of people, Fran. I mean, we got to know each other's parents.
Yep.
It was just so close a group.
Yeah.
No, Fran, honestly, I appreciate the relationship because, again, Tim being a quarterback, you being his lineman, you protected him. He did his thing behind you. I mean, yeah, I can relate because that's how I am with my guys too.
Oh, yeah.
So, Tim, this next question we asked all of our guests, but I want to make sure I give you the proper accolades. So I'm going to read it straight from the paper. You ready? Here we go. You had a record-setting career at Ship, All-American player in '81 and '82. Okay, PSAC and ECAC Player of the Year in 1981. Okay, all PSAC, all ECAC first team in '82. What are some of the biggest moments when you look back on your playing days? And obviously there's going to be a lot of them, and I know it's a hard question, but what would you rank as some of the biggies?
Well, I think just playing on a team that was truly a team. The quarterback's going to get statistics, whether they're good or bad, depending on the team and so forth. I was fortunate. I was with a great group of athletes and players that made my opportunities much easier just because how good they were. I mean, I could throw a 10-yard pass to Andy Noon. He'd make it into a 90-yard touchdown pass, okay? Just to give you an example. And I really appreciated the opportunity to play with all those guys, whether they were on offense, whether they were on defense. We just had a really good group of guys that worked together and had one goal, and we tried to make that goal become a reality. And I think in a lot of cases it did. We had great coaches. I had an opportunity to coach with my quarterback coach eventually at Lebanon Valley when Coach Monis got the job at Lebanon Valley. I coached with him for 8 years, and I learned so much. His organizational skills and preparation were the best I've ever been around. And I appreciated that because I learned a lot from that. And it's interesting because when he was the quarterback coach, he was very well organized, and he prepared all our quarterbacks for the games and from a scouting report standpoint that I felt really confident going into every game with what we could do against certain schemes and certain defenses. And I just can't thank him enough for the preparation, because that meant a whole lot. In fact, I think during that year, early in the season, um, he gave me that opportunity, so did Coach Ragazzo, to be able to call a lot of the plays just because of being prepared. I remember the first time that Tommy Sloan brought in a play, and I said, "No, we're not going to do that. This is what we're going to do." And Tommy looked at me and he said, "Ebby, are you? That's not what I said." I said, "Well, we're not going to do that." and we ran the play, and we got through the series or whatever. And I'm coming off on the sideline, and Coach Mo was like, "Did you get the play wrong that came in?" I said, "Coach, you prepare me so well. I would think you'd want me to call what I think is a high percentage play based on what I believe is." And not to say that I'm going to do that a lot, but in that case, I felt like we needed to do that type of play. He said, "Okay, I guess we're going to go with that."
Nice.
I remember multiple times. The one great thing about Eddie, and he didn't hype any of his great moments, and there were plenty of them. And I could go back to Virginia Union. I can go to Millersville and just some big games. CW
Yeah.
Post was ridiculous, but as a lineman, I so appreciated in the huddle. Sometimes we'd be down near the goal line, and Mo would send in like a pass play, and the offensive lineman would be just like, "Run the damn ball," and Eddie be like, all right, we'll run the ball." Eddie was very
Yeah.
willing to adjust the offensive scheme.
Well, I know how important it is to really have a good, strong running game. And we did.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you guys up front were unbelievable. The only time I can remember where you weren't is when Fran would get beat off the ball. He'd be yelling, "Look out, Ebby."
That was the
I'd have,
that
I'd
was
have
the
to
lookout, man. Come on, the lookout block. That's a legit block, the lookout block. You got to call that stuff out early. No, and you think about it, we had an academic All-American in Keller.
Oh, yeah.
Shawnee was a smart guy. I don't know that he was
Yep.
academic All-American, but he was a very smart
Yeah.
guy. Cal's an All-American. Oshansky and I both made all-conference. I mean, we got a great front. We had a great
Oh, my
front.
gosh. No question.
Yeah,
No
very good.
question. The other thing about that, Fran and Rob, is that we were so good that no one worried about who got the accolades. It was about getting the job done, and really the winning type attitude that we were not going to be denied in certain situations, and we found a way to overcome those. And our defense was just as strong and had the same type commitment and beliefs and so forth. And that's why, like, I remember at Cal late in the season when we clinched the West, and the defense had to stop them at the end, and they came through with some big plays. And what a way to win the game and win the conference. And then to go to Millersville, if you remember, I think it was Steve Dolman blocked a field goal attempt or punt, and that turned the whole game around.
Yeah.
And it was our special teams, with that,
No, it was across the board. I know, so we're 12-1 in 81, and you're 7-3 in 82. You talked about some of your weapons, but maybe go into a little more detail about. I think everybody has heard the name Ed Noon.
Oh my gosh!
But Dave Freeze, Shirky, Zub.
What a group of athletes.
Did you have any? Ev, you got interrupted. Did you have any thought that group was going to come together like that?
Well, it's funny. It's funny, Fran. My junior year coming to camp, I didn't even know who Dave Calvaria was. He was one of our co-captains, right? And I'm a co-captain. I got to know Dave at the beginning of that year, and really got to know a lot of the guys, because we had a little bit of a changeover from my sophomore year to junior year.
Oh, yeah.
And with personnel, and it all just seemed to come together. I felt like my freshman and sophomore year, getting to know Coach Ragazzo, and he was a tough guy, and he was a no-nonsense guy. And I liked that. I really liked that. And I know some guys may not have appreciated that early on, but he just wanted to win. And he wanted to put us in a situation to win. And he was really intelligent from the standpoint of strategy and so forth. And having Mo on offense, great offensive coordinator. And on defense, we had Bob Rollins and Tony Winter. Those guys were unbelievable. And it just, everything about that team was just at the level it needed to be to win. And that's how I went into every game. Of, I felt like we just had to find a way to win, and that was the key to the whole thing. And every game it was something different. Especially early in the year. Early in the year, I felt like we remember our first game at Bloomsburg. We were losing. I think I had turned the ball over twice. And the second half, we came out. They didn't stop us at all in the second half. We just scored like 30 points or something like that. I mean, it was a blowout eventually, and then we just built on that.
Yeah. That's like we had the Slippery Rock game. We were getting pounded.
Absolutely.
Halftime, we turned it around and beat them.
Yeah, turned it around and kept the undefeated season going. And remember, fam, when we got to Millersville, we were not in the top 8 in the NCAA rankings.
Right.
And one of the teams had to lose for us to get in the tournament.
And
when they did, then we went down to Virginia Union, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun down there for sure.
Had a lot of fun in the first half. Second half was a little trickier.
the third quarter, man, they came storming back.
I know. They were a little angry. They were like angry bees.
Yes, they were, and they were actually a really good football team.
They were.
We just got them early, and then we hung on.
Well, the next question we kind of already touched on, but I'll kind of ask it again. Like, you got to play for Vito Ragazzo, you got to play for Coach Mo. I'm kind of curious too, just to kind of add to the question, because I think you had an interesting experience playing for Coach Mo, but then also coaching with him.
Oh yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what did those guys contribute to you? And I'm just curious, what was that like coaching with a guy that, I got the chance to play for both of those guys as well. And Coach Mo was just so special to me too. I got a chance to coach with him, but I'm just curious, what was that like?
Well, I think Vito and I had a really close relationship from my junior year and senior year and so forth. And in fact, my junior year, when we went to the national tournament, our first game was Thanksgiving weekend. Right. And I stayed up at Ship for Coach Ragazzo left the team, had the option of either going home or staying around. I stayed around, and I actually had Thanksgiving lunch with Coach Mo and his family, and dinner with Coach Ragazzo and his family. So I had a lot of food that day for sure, but I got to kind of know the family and where they were coming from, and it was really special. I felt real special about that because they helped mold me into the person I am through my college experience, and I can't thank them enough. I really can't. I just appreciate what they did for me and the opportunities that I learned from them and through that experience and then to be able to coach with Coach Mo. Like I said, he's the most well-organized person I've ever kind of met. And it really showed me the importance of hard work, dedication, and commitment to doing the best that you can and preparing your kids as best you can. Because I ended up, when I left Lebanon Valley, I was the head coach at Westminster High School for 2 years with high school football. And all those things that I learned from the time I played in college to the time I actually coached in college, I used a lot of those experiences in my own role as a head coach for 2 years.
Nice. Yeah, Mo was special, and like you did say too, man, it became such a family bond. It was really very, very cool. And looking back on all that, Abby, how does that kind of shape who you become as an adult? It's been a lot of years now since 81, 82.
Well, I have to say my mentor for the last 35, 40 years, I've really had two. Tony Ceddia, who I worked for, he in fact, when I coached at Westminster, I got a call one day. It was right after I just did a camp, and the person on the other end of the line said, the president wants to talk to you. And I said, president of what? Right? Because I had no idea. And it was Tony Ceddia, and he said, hey, I have a position I think fits your personality to the T to bring you back to the university. You won't be able to coach because it's going to take a lot of your time. And I came back as the director of alumni relations. That's how I started out. And then eventually my position became executive director of university relations. And we did alumni, government, community relations. So I was out in the community and working with the government on projects and getting funding for projects for not only the university, but the Shippensburg community as a whole. And so he's been a mentor for the last 35, 40 years. And my other mentor was Bob Rollins. Bob was a special person, still is a special person to me. He and I go out for lunch every couple of weeks just to stay in touch. And he really gives me a lot of guidance on financial type things because, he was a business professor. He really has done well with the stock market and that kind of stuff. And those two guys have really been my, mentors. And if I ever had a professional question about a career change or whatever, they would always give me the best advice, really. And I appreciated that. And I just can't get Dr. Ceddia to stop calling me Timmy. He thinks I'm his son.
I don't think anybody called you Timmy. I think
No,
I've only heard Emmy. That's the only
he's
thing
the
I've
only
ever
one. And since I worked for him, he could call me whatever he wanted to call me.
heard. For sure. Well, you
So
didn't even mention about a mentor, golf. I know Vito. Didn't you golf with Vito and Mo a lot?
Well, those two played a lot of golf. I played a lot of golf with Mo at Lebanon Valley. And I mean, he has a really nice golf swing.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't like to lose. And I don't like to lose, as you know. So it was always a good competition. Sometimes he got me, sometimes I got him.
Nice.
well, then you also got into officiating basketball. So tell us a little bit about how you got into that and what you're doing now professionally.
Sure. When I graduated from SHIP, I had the opportunity to go up to Toronto in Canada. In fact, Eddie Noon and I both had gotten signed like free agent contracts, whatever it was. In fact, we used the same agent. It was Ron Jaworski Enterprises out of Philly.
Okay.
And the guy that was the agent, the lead agent there was Rich Glazer. And he got his contracts up in Canada. We both went up. Unfortunately, we both got released at the end of camp and so forth. Came back, and I knew I wanted to stay involved with athletics in some way. So I went back to my high school, and I was an assistant coach at West York for 2 years. And my father at the time was a baseball umpire and a basketball referee. And so I was coaching football at West York, and then I had an opportunity to coach football and baseball at York High. And my dad said, why don't you try basketball officiating? Because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get into coaching with basketball. He said, just take the test, come to do 1 year, see if you like it. If you like it, great. If you don't, at least you gave it a shot. And I fell in love with it. I mean, I just fell in love with officiating basketball. And then the more I progressed with basketball, I reached a point where I had my first opportunity that I got hired in Division I with the Ivy Patriot League. And Mickey Crowley was the first supervisor that gave me my first opportunity. And I worked for him. And then I got invited to a camp out in Indianapolis to try out for the Colonial Conference, which was run by John Clockerty. And John was originally from Pittsburgh. And John had at that point when he retired, he had worked the most Final Fours of any basketball referee in the country.
Wow.
And really was like the top person. And so he saw me at the camp, and he came up to me after like my second game, and he says, and he didn't know me. I didn't know John. And he just came up to me and he said, I'll tell you, you can work for me, and I want to hire you. So he gave me my first opportunity with the mid-majors in the Colonial Conference, which at the time was VCU, ODU, Drexel. It was really a good conference. In fact, William and Mary was in that. George Mason went to the Final Four, I think in my second or third year working in that conference. And then VCU eventually went to the Final Four. Yeah. And so I worked a couple years for John, and he had the ACC and the Colonial. And after like 3 years, he had me work in the Colonial tournament. And so he invited me to the ACC tryout camp, which was out in Akron, Ohio. And it was the LeBron James camp. Okay, so I got to meet LeBron James.
Nice.
And he invited 12 referees out, and we worked for 3 days. And after that 3 days, he called me and he says, I'm going to take you in the ACC. I think you're ready to work that level.
Wow.
And he said, I'm going to be honest with you. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to let you go. It's up to you how well you do. And he said, sometimes when the bright lights go on, some people ascend and others descend. And he goes, I think you're going to ascend. And so I had the opportunity to work in the ACC for about 10 years. And when I got hired in the ACC, then I got hired by a number of other conferences just because I had the ACC label as a referee.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of it. I mean, I thought I was good enough to do the other leagues, but that played a big role in it. And I did that. I worked in Division I for about 20 years while working at SHIP. And my presidents were very supportive of me doing that as an avocation on the side and so forth. I would take vacation when I needed to do that if it was a weekday stuff. And I did that. I did the ACC for about 10 years. My biggest game in the ACC was I worked a game at Maryland with Oregon State, and Oregon State's coach at the time was Cliff Robinson. It was Barack Obama's brother-in-law. and Cliff, every year, he would bring his team east to play somewhere, and Barack Obama and his family would come to the game. So I worked this game at Maryland. It was a Sunday night on ESPN, and I was within 15 feet of Barack Obama like a couple times during the game. But we came out of the locker room before the game because security was so tight.
Sure.
And we couldn't come out until they got him in and Secret Service in to get seated and so forth. And I came out, and my partners came out, and there were like 18 or 20 guys in fatigues and big guns. And I thought, this is the safest place in the world right now. And what a fun experience that was. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, I reached my last year working in 2 or 3 of Division I conferences. And I knew at that point before that, I knew that I wanted to stay involved with basketball in some way. And so about 12 years ago, I started bidding. When leagues would come up for bid, I would bid on leagues to oversee and manage their officiating. Okay. And eventually I got the PSAC. I got what used to be the Capital Athletic Conference, which was mostly in the Mid-Atlantic region. And I got the Atlantic East Conference. And then I had 2 or 3 regions of junior college programs, about 55 schools.
Wow.
And I really got into that because I knew when I retired from SHIP, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to stay involved with college basketball. I really have a passion for college basketball. And I assigned for those conferences, I assigned both their men's and women's basketball. And it's about 170 teams total that I work with.
Sounds like a pretty good gig, though.
Yeah, it really is. And you stay connected. In the fall, like now that I'm retired from SHIP, in the fall I go out and I meet with the teams on their campus in the PSAC. I go out and go over rule changes, points of emphasis, talk to them about plays in particular. I really love working with the student athletes. They're just really a lot of fun to work with. And so I do that every year. In September and October, I travel out and I try and meet with those teams and go over those things with them. And then when the season starts, I have probably about 12 to 14 retired referees or coaches that work for my organization, and they're out watching games and evaluating referees. They give me a lot of feedback, and so it's been a great experience with that. And I really enjoy doing that, and I want to do that as long as I can for sure.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. Now so your love for basketball. So you were a 3-sport athlete in high school?
Yeah.
Did you play baseball, football?
I was a catcher in baseball. I wanted to think of myself as a power forward in basketball. I don't know if I was, but I wanted to think that way. And in football, of course, I was a quarterback, and I was a kicker. Actually, I kicked too.
Oh, yeah, really?
My freshman year, I kicked. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that.
I kicked an extra point out in Ann Arbor in the fourth quarter.
Oh my gosh! You got an
extra
point in
the
big house.
It's in the record books. The stat. I was 1 for 1 with extra points.
Nice, very nice. Well, it's interesting too because I know that we've talked about this in the past with some guys too. Is that you don't see a lot of 3-sport athletes anymore
No.
Coming into college programs.
Well,
Everybody's committed.
even high school, Fran. I mean,
Yeah,
it's hard
Oh,
because
they
of the commitments you've
specialize.
got to make.
they specialize, and
Yeah.
it's just a weird thing because I always felt that I'll never forget my high school football coach my freshman year telling me to play basketball. He said you need better feet, better footwork and coordination. He said go
Good
play
point.
basketball. So I ended up playing basketball for 4 years, and really loved
Wow.
it. Loved the game. It ended up being just now
Yeah.
best I ever did was six man, but it definitely helped my skill set, for football.
Yeah.
And you just don't see it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, the spring game's coming up. You gonna come?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm going
nice.
to try. I'm
Awesome.
going to make sure. Yes.
Excellent.
Definitely want to do coach program. We want to support the program.
Now they got
It's
it.
really important. We had guys ahead of us that came back remember, we used to play the spring game.
Oh yeah.
The alumni.
Oh yeah.
I can still remember you on defense, and I'm audible in a play, and you knew where the play was going.
Yeah. Well, so that's a story I tell all the time, maybe because I hadn't played defensive end since high school, and we had no D ends. So they asked me to play defensive end in the spring game for the alumni
Oh wow!
team. And you're a quarterback, and you called 58 back in those days, which was a sweep to the right, and I was playing left defensive end. So I'm telling the whole team, going, "Hey, it's coming this way, it's coming this way." So you son of a bitch, the next play you run is like an off tackle power, and Doug Miller came in and just blew me up, and I was like, I knew you called that play intentionally.
I always wanted to try and win, friend. You know that.
No, I'll tell you, those games were very painful, but they were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun.
Oh, they were. They definitely
Yeah.
were a lot of fun. I do want to acknowledge Coach Mack. I mean, what a winner! What a super person.
Mhm.
I really appreciated the opportunity to be there and be around his program and so forth. He was truly committed to the university and to football, I just feel for the guy because I know he experienced a lot of tough things the last few years, and
Mhm.
he's just a special person
Yeah.
for the university.
He's really what got this whole RR4L thing going. He
Yes.
got
Yeah,
us kind of motivated, and yeah,
yeah,
so we're just trying to keep it going, and he's hoping to stay involved with us, as time moves forward.
good.
Yeah.
He's a special person.
Yeah.
Definitely special.
He
All
is.
right, man. Anything else?
Yeah.
Well,
Anything else?
I do want to acknowledge Greg Keller's daughter
Nah.
with the
Yes. Very
USA
good.
hockey team.
How
What
about
an
it?
accomplishment!
How about
I
it?
was I
And
felt so proud, and I'm sure everybody did
Hmm.
in that championship game. And she made the championship goal to win the gold. And
yeah.
again, we all stay connected, even when our kids are achieving,
Hmm.
and that's awesome.
I know.
Just
I'll
hope,
tell you, my wife and I watched that game, and we were just sitting there on the couch. And when she scored that goal, we both went through the roof, man. And
yeah,
every time I talk about it to somebody, I smile. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I
And
know.
Fran, thank you for sending that out to everybody in RR4L
Oh yeah.
because I'll tell you, I talked about it at school and then
Hmm.
I got home, I was watching the game, and one of my buddies after the goal texted me and it's all caps. And he's like, and the ship guy's daughter, like he didn't even know his name. He was excited because of the ship connection. He's not even from ship.
Oh yeah, that's
I
cool.
know.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
Oh
that was
yeah.
pretty wild.
Everybody got
And
on board with that one, man. That was a
Yeah.
great moment. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
man. The texting was going crazy.
What a game.
Tell you what, there's some other ones too, because our guest next week is going to be Ryan Ha, whose son
Oh,
Tom plays for Florida.
Yeah, he
I
was
think
oh
he's our
wow,
leading. I think he's our leading scorer this year.
yeah,
wow,
he was a
Yeah,
major contributor to that national championship team.
yes,
wow. That's awesome.
yeah, and right
Yeah.
now they're ranked. I guess they're ranked sixth in the nation right now, Florida. So he's going to share some thoughts on that with us too. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah,
We got some. I'll tell you, whenever you get some of these guys, they have some offspring that are pretty impressive. I know Rob's boys played Division I college, and
wow. That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's fun to watch, like all your teammates and then their next
Yeah,
generation,
yeah,
boys and girls. It's just fun to see them have success in all
yeah,
kinds of different ways, not just sports. So
yeah,
I think
sure.
that does keep us connected.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right,
Well,
man. That cover. What's that, Tim?
I appreciate the opportunity tonight to talk to you guys. This was great.
It's
Yeah.
great to have you, man. It's good to catch up. It's always fun to see the guys from my team in '81, and great job as a captain on that team and a leader. We had some great captains, and that was a big part of it, man. You, Pizicki, Cal and Pryor. So
Well, I tell you what, Cal's pregame pep talks were great. I love those things.
legendary. All right, man. Well, we'll see you all next week. Hope to see everybody at the spring game, April 10th and 11th.
Yes.
Mark your calendars for Rocky Reese on May 16th. And Tim, we'll be looking for you.
All right, sounds good, Fran. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks
See
a
you,
lot,
Chip.
Yeah, I love you guys, man.
All right, you too, brother.
Love you too. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Huddle Up!